Men. What's a myth about men that's 100% untrue and it infuriates you whenever you hear it? You know what? I did give a crap about my wedding day. I cannot believe the amount of people, mostly ladies, who just straight up assumed, all you have to remember is where to be and to say I do, right? Ha 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 ha. Freaking annoying. I had ideas of how I wanted it to look and how I wanted it to go as well, but my goodness, not a single person thought I gave a crap even though I constantly was trying to give my take on stuff. It was always met with, oh, you don't need to worry about that, or, oh, the ladies will figure that out. Like, this is infuriating. I'm convinced the phrase, the ladies will figure that out, is code for, we're going to do whatever we want, and if you complain, you're a groomzilla. Story 2. That men can be victims from women. Yeah, we can. And statistically, if we report it, there is a solid chance that we'll be the ones going to jail for it, even if all we did was take it and not fight back. Screw that. Story 3. I freaking hate the dirty looks I get from mothers when I take my child to the playground. For some reason, I am considered a criminal first before a responsible parent. Yes, I'm staring at the play equipment covered in kids. I'm supervising my own son playing with a random group of kids. It's like mums are allowed to have this unkept, rundown, tired as heck look and be considered a hardworking mom. But an unkept dad, rundown, tired as heck looking, and I'm freaking criminal. Give me the craps, and now I have reservations about taking my kid to the park. In saying that, any scruffy-looking man I see around a playground, I go on high alert. Story 4. That if you're not into at least one type of sport, to the point of damn near obsession, then you're not really a man. Okay, I like American football. Every Sunday that my favorite team plays is like a mini holiday to me. I buy decent beer, I make a nice meal to eat during the game, and I try to wear a t-shirt with my favorite team's logo on it. But the next day, if you ask me about a specific play, there's a 50-50 chance that I won't remember it unless it was something really incredible. And I have no clue about any players or staff on any other team in the league unless they're a superstar. And I don't watch any other sports. I have zero interest in doing so. And I know that most of this makes me seem less manly in the eyes of a lot of people, even women. Same thing with outdoorsy crap like hunting and fishing. I mean, I like fishing, but I didn't take it up until I was in my 40s. And I don't really know crap about it except for the extreme basics that's pretty much just common sense. I go into it mostly as a reason to get outside with my young son. Story 5. That men can be on the receiving end of violence, especially if their argument for saying so is something along the lines of, men are bigger and stronger than women, the man wouldn't lose. Something I've heard said on the topic way too much, including from my own mother, thinking that is sexist in both directions. I mean, at the very least, I'm pretty sure a weapon doesn't care if it was fired by a bodybuilder or an infant. The same goes for psychological mistreatment, which gets into something very closely related. Society telling guys to man up about something or someone harming them is a major part of why so many can't get help when they need it. Story 6. I was in a cruel relationship for 2 years. I had my life controlled, I was isolated from my friends and family, and I shrunk to 120 pounds because of how little I was eating. I was offered no help to anyone I talked to. Even when she threatened to end herself if I left, it hurts me when people act like woman-to-man cruelty isn't a big deal or doesn't happen. When I've tried to talk about it, I get responses like, every guy claims their ex is crazy. Immediately downplayed. It also bugs me, and maybe this is specific to where I live, that in the current climate, everything is about demonizing men. I really went through hell with this girl. And after finally pulling through, I'm rewarded with being frequently antagonized and told my story doesn't matter. I understand the social climate isn't personal to me, but after going through what I did, it's very hard to hear. Story 7. That emotional cruelty isn't something we face too. We're often dismissed, discredited, or suffer in secret. Lots of men don't get help for this reason, and we can't say no. The perception is that we constantly want intimacy, and if we don't want it, it's because there's something wrong with a person who's offering intimacy. Let no mean no for us too. That any objection to a relationship is proof of fear of commitment. That if I'm explaining something that someone already knows, it's immediately construed as mansplaining. Guess what? Sometimes I'm trying to share information to help, and you know that information. I made a bad assumption. It isn't because you're a woman, and it isn't because I think you're stupid. I might just be being condescending regardless of your gender. I might just be over-explaining. Ask. I'll tell you. That it's okay for any woman to feel completely confident to tell me how I should be and what my partner wants in a relationship. Every woman is different and should be treated as an individual. Your tastes and values are different from every other person's, and as much as you know about women, you've never been a heterosexual male. Don't tell me how to be a man. I don't tell you how to be a woman. But every man shares common traits. I'm lumped in with every person and assumptions are made about me, my perceptions, and my behavior because I am a man. The boys growing up today don't experience shame at being a man. They are innocent people who have done nothing. They didn't ask to be a man. If your messaging is that every man is evil, they internalize that. Story 8. That we are all criminals at heart. The men had some kind of institutionalized privilege back in the day. Passing away from black lung in the coal mines or getting gassed in the trenches in World War I is not privilege. Driving a pickup truck or owning a weapon or doing anything masculine means we have a small thing. Stop thinking about our things so much. The men can't be mistreated. On TV, slapping a woman is cruelty. Slapping a man is comedy. That for men, intimacy is just a physical release. We have it for fun and it controls our every move. Intimacy is deeper than that for us. If a woman craves intimacy and seeks it out, she's sometimes called a witch, but sometimes she's called an assertive, strong woman who goes out and gets what she wants. If a man craves intimacy and seeks it out, he's usually just another intimacy-crazed criminal. There's also a misconception about dating. For men, dating can be very dangerous. We're always at risk of being thrown in jail and having our lives ruined. Any woman who doesn't acknowledge this is sexist. The list could go on for hours, but I have to go to work as a nurse who is male, so I've pretty much got to put up with crap that women would consider sexist. Story 9. I'm not a male, but I know a few of the myths that I know are BS. If a guy is into a younger woman, he's a kiddie fiddler. That one probably isn't as common, but I'm in a relationship and he's older than me by 2 years, and people consistently call him a kiddie fiddler since he's 19 and I'm 17. Consider we've been dating since he was 16 and now he's 14. That's a common one for younger relationships. Intimacy is all guys want. Bullcrap. Multiple guys I've met just want a friend or a relationship that makes them happy. It's not all desire. The whole chase thing is stupid. No, I'm not going to lead a guy on for months when I don't freaking have interest in him. That's hurting him and me. Getting at random means desire. Again, no, it doesn't. You can legit have one for no reason and you're like, what the heck are you doing? And your thing is like, I don't know. Women with assumptions make me sad. It's freaking infuriating when people say that men are always the oppressor in cruel relationships. Like you're so freaking far from the truth, it's not even funny. It's both sides, not just the male. Like, yeah, sure, men can do damage to a woman pretty easily, but that doesn't mean the women can't do damage either. I know I'm not a male, but I hang around males more than females because screw the females. But that's crap I've heard over and over from other girls, and it's just infuriating because I know the damn truth. If I did get anything wrong, don't tell me off. I'm going off of my experience and from what 99% of the guys I know tell me. Story 10. That all of us mansplain. Sometimes I get freaking stupid questions or comments that require attention. After probing, it's clear that the person doesn't have a clue what he or she is saying. Errors from this kind of incompetence can be very expensive or cause legal troubles. One woman, the daughter of a senior person's friend, was critically wrong about a basic process. DCF, if anyone's interested, you just assume everyone knows. It was a very basic task for a new person to get them acclimated and to be helpful. As her appointed mentor, she would often check in with me before sending it off to her MD. And I got back a bunch of mangled numbers that made absolutely zero sense from the base numbers, no matter what you did to the process. I scheduled a meeting to teach her the model and how to do it. I did this discreetly, because distributing what she gave me would have caused heads to roll. She was aggravated and started telling me off about mansplaining and that just because her numbers were different doesn't mean they were wrong. There was a 99.999999% chance they were wrong. If they were right, she didn't get to them the right way. Doing it the right way really does matter a lot. She ended up pivoting careers, which is the best move if you're not open to learning from mistakes. I know guys mansplain, but I've seen the term thrown around more from prideful idiots than used properly. Story 11. I've had several women say to me, "You can understand this. You're a man." What was especially infuriating was the time it related to safety. In a conference where we were deciding safety topics at work, I got bluntly told my opinion literally did not matter because I'm a man, and they were women. Like, look, if someone wants to rob me, hurt me, end me in 2019, they're going to come with a taser, a weapon, something. I'm not going to be freaking bare knuckles brawling with someone in the street to prevent a crime. I understand that there are issues women face that men don't, in similar volumes, but the assumption that men are somehow safer than women made me so angry I left that committee and refused to participate. Story 12. Men have no interest in being part of wedding planning. Like, what the heck? I love my soon-to-be fiancé. I want her to love our wedding. Yes, it's her day, but it's also my day. More to the point, it's our day. We're about to have a ceremony and party commemorating a commitment to spend our lives together, so why wouldn't I be a partner in planning a ceremony or party memorializing a partnership? But people comment when my girlfriend and I go to a wedding expo together. I went to one by myself yesterday. My girlfriend was busy with work to gather info and options, and while 80 to 90% of the brides were there by themselves, it was weird for me to be there by myself. I had to ask for raffle tickets from multiple vendors that they were handing out automatically to brides at the end of the table conversations. And despite having the same ticket for entry as everyone else, I wasn't eligible to win the $4,000 grand prize package at the end. It was only for brides who were still present in the room, even though a free honeymoon to Paris and some wedding planning or wedding services would have been equally useful to or wanted by me. I'm not a men's right activist, and I'm not going to make a formal issue of this, but technically that violated several provisions of my state's anti-discrimination laws, which prohibits discriminating based on gender, marital status, and orientation. I was told if I was in a same-gender relationship, I could win. Of course, I joined my girlfriend for conversations with a goldsmith about wedding rings to go with the engagement ring. I'm wearing one too. It's a symbol for both of us. I'm really excited to be getting engaged. I'm really excited to be getting married. I'm excited about planning the wedding together and planning our lives together. And I just don't understand the notion that the only involvement a groom has is to wear a rented tuxedo selected by his bride and to show up at the wedding to read a pre-selected script. Story 13. I have a few. Happened to me last night. Because I talk to a woman doesn't mean I want to fool around with her. Sometimes I'm just trying to be nice, or helpful, or just make a new friend. Oh, and on that note, I'm not attracted to every girl who breathes, or is thought of as hot by other guys. On that, just because a guy likes something more girly makes him no less of a straight guy than would make a straight woman more of a guy for liking guy things. I don't hate or I'm homophobic of gay men because I'm straight. I honestly think gay people make some of the best friends. I like to mentor young people because most of my life I didn't have that. I did get the rare good soul and feel I should return the favor. I'm not being creepy as the world thinks. I have no interest in these kids. Keyword. Other than seeing them grow up better and healthier than I got to. Also, don't assume I could fix your car. I mean, I can, but don't assume it. The talking to a woman minefield. It's like navigating a social landmine while juggling flaming bowling pins. One wrong move and bam. You're trying to fool around. Story 14. I'm a dad with 3 young kids under 5. I also have a full-time job, as does my wife. Because of how our schedules work out, there are a few days a week where they're home with me while my wife's at work. Every freaking daddy duty line or someone asking me how I'm getting by babysitting or making a joke about what a mess the house must be or how I better not let the kids burn the house down just makes me want to punch the person who says it. Yeah, it's hard. Some days it's really freaking hard. I'm always tired. I'm always behind on things I'd like to do. But you know what? Nobody says that crap to my wife. It's not babysitting. I'm a freaking parent. I even get funny looks when I'm alone at the grocery store with my own damn kids. Like people are watching a chimp that's been trained to perform some kind of amazing trick. The stigma about male parents, about goofy, inept dads, about me needing to be rescued from being alone with my own kids. It really makes me mad every time. Story 15. At any time we're stressed out by expectations of us, it's toxic masculinity in play. We can get stressed out by expectations placed on us by women, by LGBT people, etc. Some of those expectations are modern constructs. Some of them are completely personalized. Both men and women often have expectations placed upon them either by society or by individuals. That masculinity is necessarily toxic, fragile, or needs to be abolished. One of the most important concepts of masculinity is that men are tough and can handle stress like diamonds. We need this concept because expectations are placed in us a lot. One bit about men that's 100% true is that we work more often, are placed in danger more often, are more likely to suffer violent crime, be incarcerated and pass away early. It's not toxic for us to idealize stoicism. It is a necessary psychological defense mechanism for us to cope with a world which is objectively less protective and forgiving of us than of women. Story 16. The men and women can't be friends. Maybe they can't in general cases, but for me, I can. I had 2 sisters growing up. I got along well with both women and men. Through work, I became good friends with 2 coworkers. Both in very serious relationships, one getting married, and I'm great friends with their SOs as well. Yet still, people at work thought we were fooling around because we would talk at our desks a little more than I guess they thought appropriate. Then some other guys in my office that I'm friends with, "Oh, you like her, huh? Wink, wink." And even when I reply, "No, we're great friends, but I don't see them in that way. They're in relationships with people that I would never mess with regardless. They're super nice guys." And they just reply with, "Oh, Jim and Pam." Like, yep, that's my only option, right? Either I'm ruining someone's relationship or waiting it out. No way in heck I could just be friends with them, right? Story 17. That masculinity, loud, blustering machismo, it's mostly other guys who believe it, though there are plenty of women who do as well. Among the most sensitive and soft-spoken guys I know are a few SF soldiers. 2 retired, 1 still active duty. A man who worked with his hands, mostly outdoors for over 60 years and can fix literally anything he's had the urge to. A modern computer, a building foundation, an air conditioner, a 70-year-old tractor, etc., etc., a retired commercial fishing boat captain, and a retired lumberjack. Without exception, each of those guys would rather talk about how cute their kids or grandkids are, or were before they grew up, than trade tall tales about personal accomplishments or get hammered and start a fight. The active duty Green Beret I mentioned, his favorite thing in the world to do is have a tea party with his daughter. Story 18. That men will never step up to raise someone else's kid. I had two stepdads in my life, both of which raised me better than my dad did for the brief time I had with him. Stepdad number 1 was there for most of my childhood, probably starting from the time I was 4. He treated me and my sister like his own kids, always spending time with us whenever he was available. He and my mom eventually split, and I bawled uncontrollably for 2 days. Stepdad number 2 rolled around just before I became a teenager, and as such provided a role model for those important years. He handled the laundry, did 90% of the cooking, and cleaning duties were usually split evenly throughout the house. I looked up to him for a long time, to the point that he was my view of the man I wanted to be. That was until he and my mom ended on a sour note, with him taking a large amount of money out of their shared bank account and using it to go back to his mother's house and use the rest to fuel his substance habit. It did a lot for me, but if I ever see that schmuck again, I'll roughen him up. Story 19. One thing that really makes me mad is how poorly displayed fathers are in TV or movies. Take Stranger Things as an example. Dustin's dad left, Will's dad is a manipulative schmuck, Ike's dad is lazy and useless, Hopper is shown to treat Eleven badly, Steve's dad is a schmuck, Max's dad left, and Billy's dad is cruel. Meanwhile, the mothers are the ones who step up to the plate and are the strong points in the show and lead the way. Joyce Byers is cool, and I have no problem with awesome, powered female characters, but when all the fathers are seen as schmucks, it's incredibly discouraging to young boys. Story 20. That we're all the same and incapable of not cheating and being a good boyfriend. That we're all terrible and it is our responsibility to prove them wrong. Not true. What women mean is that all the men they go after are the same. I'm not even going to sit here and listen to you cry on my shoulder about how guys are all the same when it's clear that if that were true, you wouldn't be crying on my shoulder right now. I gave up even being friends with those women because I don't have time to be your gay best friend even though I'm clearly straight. Just because all the men you go after are womanizing mouth breathers with flashy cars says more about you than it does for men. You want a real man? Then go after one. Simple. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button for more videos like this. Story 21. That we're less of a man for treating our spouses as equals. I don't usually hear it to my face, but the guys my wife works with often make jokes about how she's got me wrapped around her finger since we treat each other with respect. E.g., neither of us drops over $100 without checking with each other, or we don't just arbitrarily say we're having a night out, etc. Sometimes I let it get to me because most of those man babies wouldn't have the first clue how to do half the manly things I've learned over the years. Fixing a car, patching a wall, replacing a toilet. Things these guys state are men's work. Yet these things are just skills and don't inherently make me a man. Treating my friends, family, loved ones, and especially my spouse with respect, well, that just might. Story 22. I have been mistreated. It messed me up just like it would with any other survivor up. Though people, all genders, respond in different ways. My apartment is far cleaner and I'm a much better cook than 100% of my female friends. It's not because I'm male or they're female or because I'm a neat freak, because I'm not. I just regularly clean my freaking apartment. They still crap on me when I make some food as if it's amazing that I'm able to feed myself. They patronizingly think it's cute when they noticed I ironed a shirt or something. Being the only male in a group of women is far worse than being the only woman in a group of men. Without question. The mistreatment starts from the word go. There was a period in my life where, by sheer accident of history, all of my friend group and most of my coworkers were female. I had to take breaks from them. I made fun of my clothes, my personal interests, and my personal hygiene, which is beyond reproach. Literally anything that was stereotypically male that I didn't do was met with some emasculating joke. Likewise, with anything that I did that was typically male. In fact, virtually all of the friendly jibes that most friends give each other take the form of some emasculating comment when directed at me. From a certain point of view, it was a fascinating insight into gendered social dynamics. Because before and after I was the only male, it stopped. But it really takes an emotional toll over time. These people were mostly enlightened. Pro-equality people, too. Story 23. That we can't cook, garden, clean, be empathetic or sympathetic, show our emotions, be honest with or compliment other guys, have gay friends and not be gay ourselves and enjoy being clean. I garden and I brought some of my midsummer harvest to my last family get-together on Saturday night to share. Not 30 minutes in, my male cousin asked me, "Why are you helping out your sister with her garden? You shouldn't have to do that." Or something similar. I was so confused. It finally clicked that he thought my sister grew my veggies that I brought and that I was being used by her to harvest them. I laughed and told him I wouldn't even let her near my zucchini. The complimenting other guys thing is hilarious. It's like, nice beard, Steve. Wait, did I just compliment a man? Am I changing? Cue existential dread. Story 24. That if we are friends with a woman, we have fooled around in the past or are interested in them. Or that if we have lots of female friends who are so totally catty gay guys who wear outrageous outfits and always do brunch. I love my girlfriends because I care about them. I've had both life-changing moments with them and comfortable afternoons doing nothing. And yes, I do prefer men as partners, but that does not mean I only talk about that with women. I appreciate my boyfriends a lot because I can be a guy with them, and that includes who I like or date. It's not always about who we got to our beds with last night. I talk to my friends about who makes me happy, who breaks my heart, and who makes me want to have intimacy because they care about me. And they do so with me because I care about them. Our human bonds give us a reason to be alive and be a good person. It's freaking insensitive to assume we can't have meaningful connections with others just because we have a thing. Story 25. That every case of manspreading is an intentional male dominance move. Normally, I don't ever care to engage in arguments that are all over social media, but there is one that really bothers me. Manspreading. I saw a video of women going around buses and subways pouring water all over the men on their way to work, minding their own business, but at the same time manspreading. The women were yelling at them that it's a dominance power move by men to claim their territory and there's no excuse for it. I avoid confrontation at all costs in public, and I'm the last person to make a power move by purposefully spreading my legs while I'm sitting. But when I sit down, my legs do naturally fall outwards in a way that would be identified as manspreading. The men in the video are sitting the exact same way that I do. It's the comfortable, natural way for me to sit. If I sit with my knees together, it takes effort, and after 10 minutes, my legs will actually start to shake. My outer thighs are also not flexible enough to sit with my legs crossed, among other reasons. It just doesn't work. For someone like me to be accused of making a male power or dominance move to random female strangers is absolutely ridiculous. I'm a quiet, reserved introvert. If someone sits beside me, there's no way I want my leg to be pressed up against theirs either, so I'm not going to take up more than my fair space. People need to get over this manspreading crap and realize it's not a power move. Unless someone is actually spreading in a ridiculous way and taking up more than one seat, then mind your own business. A retaliation is for some women to bag spread, claiming that since we can't stop manspreading, there's no other way for them to transport their bags aside from over 3 seats in a packed bus. I've had to carry multiple bags and boxes in public transit before. Hold one, put one in your lap, at your feet, under your seat, at the baggage spot at the front of the bus, etc. Bag spreading is completely unnecessary and an arrogant form of feminist retaliation. Get over it. Manspreading, in 99% of all accusations, is a biological way for a man to sit. Story 26. I am deeply troubled with how often men are viewed as the transgressors in tense or strained social interactions between genders. Sometimes it's the woman pushing the guy into uncomfortable territory, or making inappropriate demands. In the same vein, I also take issue with the general cultural perception that men can't be victims of emotional or physical cruelty. I managed to fall into that perception, and I was the damned victim. It took me years to really process it and realize the impact it had on my romantic relationships. And now that I have, it feels like it's too late. Damage done, and I'm just playing out of the romance game. Story 27. The men who are vulnerable are weak. In my experience, the men who are open and honest about their struggles are the strong ones, more stable and more likely to stick with someone through hard times. The ones who bottle things up or put on facades of anger or apathy are the ones who are weak and harder to trust. I'm not saying anger and apathy aren't useful emotions. Anger helps you express your dissatisfaction or defend yourself or a loved one. Apathy can be useful in surviving a stressful situation as a method of de-escalation, but if you rely on those affections instead of addressing underlying issues, then you're just a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Story 28. How we cannot have platonic female friends while also being in a committed relationship. No matter how many women pretend this is cool with them, ultimately almost all of them believe this is impossible and that it's just a matter of time before we our female friends. Or they say they're cool with it, but all of a sudden they're imposing all these rules designed to make it difficult for us to see these friends, such as that they have to also be involved every time or that we can't spend too much time with female friends. That they have to approve of the women we want to be friends with. I'm a grown adult. I can choose my partner and I can choose my friends. I'm in control of my own behavior, and I'm not staying with my partner just because I'm barred from meeting anyone else. I've had good female friends while being single and also while being in long-term relationships, but not had intimacy with or done anything physical with those women. I've had women friends while I was single that I slept in the same bed with and sometimes even cuddled, with no implication of intimacy or anything other than friendship. I've had deep conversations with female friends about life, dating, and the world, without anything other than friendship developing. Get over it, ladies. We're capable of it. Some men enjoy female friends. Let us be. Story 29. I'll just make a list. We aren't emotional. Okay, so I'm still young and all that jazz, but being emotional is part of life. I feel happy, sad, the whole array. Just because I'm a boy doesn't mean I'm not going to cry when my heart is broken. You can't be parents. My dad is a great parent. He took care of me when he could because he worked and still works a 9-to-5 job. When he got his current job, he was terrified that he wouldn't have time for me or my sister. There's no such thing as daddy duty or babysitting when you're the freaking parent. We're always thinking about intimacy. No. Just no, okay? If someone pops us, then it's likely some weird flow unless we're in a scenario. We have to be uber buff and tall. My dad is 5'6" and I'm 5'8" currently. Height is genetic and cannot be controlled beyond the wilds of science, and not all of us are interested in being ripped. Personally, I like being healthy. I'm just not interested in the whole muscular thing. We're dumb. This really doesn't need an explanation. This stuff irks me beyond belief. Thanks for reading my ramblings. Story 30. The man can never be the victim. It's honestly a serious issue in my opinion. I once was at a club and I had a girlfriend at the time. I was in a corner because I was feeling a bit tired when this girl came up to me and grabbed my back. I honestly felt a little violated, but I didn't want to cause a scene, and also because my head was pounding like a drum, so I just told her I was taken. She kept insisting, grabbed it again, said, "Oh, come on, you like it," and so on. I finally told her I gotta go, and I left. While leaving, she called me a wuss. Honestly, I don't want to be that guy, but if the roles were reversed and I told the story, people would say I was downright mistreated. But because I'm a guy, I can't tell the story to people without people laughing and thinking it's a joke. Story 31. I'm a wife, but my mother-in-law is always saying how my husband shouldn't do anything around the house because he works. He hates it, and so do I. She never taught him how to do basic things like laundry or unclog a toilet. Been married 5 years, and he either learns for himself or I teach him all the house stuff so that we can both keep up with it all. He prefers to do all the laundry and gets mad if anyone else does it. Whenever my mother-in-law visits, she makes comments about how he works so hard, and I don't know how he manages to do it all, but really, she just is being super sexist. I wouldn't marry a man that didn't do his fair share or, heck, didn't do beyond when I'm having a hard time. It's a team. Story 32. We don't have emotions or even cry. We're just robots. It's BS. I got laid off about 6 years ago. I spent the better part of a month or two trying to find a job. Granted, I had unemployment up to a year, but I remember distinctly breaking down in my living room while filling out application after application, submitting my resume over and over again, making phone calls, emailing employers, even showing up in person and handing off my resume. My nights dissolved into binge drinking. After 2 months of feeling hopeless and not receiving a job, I burst out into tears for a good half hour on my couch. After pulling myself together, I decided to go to a temp agency, dress up, get my associate's degree out, and head down to the agency. I told them I specialize in IT but would take any job just to get my foot in the door of a company and make my own money. They would take a big risk for me. They got me a job in IT, and as of 6 years at this time of writing, I have a good job. Business is booming and I make a good amount of cash. Story 33. The man can't be hurt by words or looks or have undesirable directed at them can't hurt man or negative stereotypes don't affect man. This may be more of a bigger guy problem, but it still hurts like hell. I'm a pretty big guy. 6'3", almost 400 pounds. Even if I wasn't overweight, I'd still be a pretty big guy. My entire life I've had people, especially women, look back at me every few seconds because they're afraid I'm about to jump on them or hurt them. The last time I just took a stroll down my neighborhood, I had 4 different women either glare at me or look terrified of me. One other woman saw me, looked absolutely terrified, stopped moving. I was walking behind her by quite a distance and glared daggers at me until I passed her, and then she walked the opposite way. I even had a mother drag their kid into the house from outside until I left. I'd understand it a bit more if I wore leather and frowned the entire time, but I always try to smile as much as I can and wear something fun and lighter colored or anything to look non-threatening. I understand some people have gone through something in their lives that may make it hard to let their guard down around a man, but every single person? Even at my job, I work on taking care of people with mental and physical disabilities, and some of the people I'm supposed to help, I can't, because their guardian said, men are not allowed to provide them direct care. It hurts so much to try your best to be nice and kind, only to be looked at like a monster because of something I have no control over. And at this point, I don't know what else to do other than just stay in my house so I don't scare anyone. Story 34. That all men are mean, or that men don't cook, or that we don't have feelings. I love to cook. I know what I like and how I like it, so it's easier to make it myself than explain it to someone and then have them make it. Now, as I'm sure all of us can agree, there are some men that really are mean, but don't go assuming anything without getting to know the guy. Give him a chance. And if he does turn out to be mean, Just leave it, and when you meet another guy, give him a chance too. Yes, we have feelings. No, we're not going to show them to you unless we're really close and we know we can trust you. The whole man up thing is such BS. Please understand this. We're fragile too. Only we choose not to show it for fear of judgment. Story 35. I'm late to the party, but I want to add something. Men don't joke about hating their wives because they're being sexist, hateful schmucks. They do it because there are serious problems in that household, and this is the only way the guy feels he can bring up the cruelty he's suffering without feeling like a little crybaby wuss. If a man tells you his wife is making life a living hell, maybe don't be so quick to blame the victim. Lots of sad people joke about the problem. Just look at all the depressives on social media being wise about their crap. Sometimes that's easier than just spilling your guts. I mean, maybe a few of them are just schmucks, law of averages, but don't assume is the point, because assuming the worst leaves a lot of people grappling with cruelty all alone. Story 36. Liking cute things automatically makes you gay. My cat is my baby, and I love watching stupid romance anime. I love playing games like Stardew Valley and My Time at Portia because they're just cute, common games. I have sheep in SDV that I named Pillow, Blanky, Stuffy, because those are the things required to sleep comfortably. And I shamelessly admit I sleep with a stuffed animal at 24. I tell my cat every time she snuggles with me, I love my pretty Porpor. Her name is Poorly Usica, but a lot of people have told me I gave her a bad name. It came from a fairy tale, an old gray-haired healer lady. I got my kitty because I was alone and super depressed. She was 5 years old at the shelter. The name fit. One of the best parts of my day is when I get home and I can hear Porpor literally shouting at the door because she heard me coming. I love super cutesy things. I have a t-shirt that is pastel colors with an anime cat girl on it. Vanilla from Nekopara. Don't know much about it, but cat girls are adorable. So many people have asked me, are you gay? Because I wear that shirt. No, I'm not gay. Are you a freaking judgmental person? Because you seem to be the type. Story 37. That we can take a joke in the context of women messing with their feelings. You all know what I'm talking about. It isn't funny. Just makes the man insecure and doubt the sincerity of any flirting directed at them in the future. Ladies, if you're ever flirting with a guy and he's not picking up the hint, there's a good chance some girl has at some point in his life, often middle or high school when girls are frequently at their worst, think it would be hilarious to flirt with him and then go, ew, you're just a creep. It was a joke. And so in his mind, any flirtation can't be real. It must be a joke. Lesson for the future, don't do this to guys. And don't teach or allow your daughters to do this to guys either. We internalize this sort of thing. It makes it very difficult to recognize sincere and genuine interest from women all throughout our lives. Story 38. That we can't cook, clean, or take care of babies. I'm a single dad and no family to help me out. I take care of my kids just fine. I cook pretty good damn meals and I can't stand a dirty or cluttered house. I bought an expensive washer and dryer because I clean laundry. True, I struggle with girly things like hair and art with my daughter, but she'll never need a man to change her tires or oil. The number one thing that really makes me mad is that women think men are incapable of loving their children all the same as a mother. I love my kids with a love that burns deep. Ever seen the movie Interstellar? My dad travels through a black hole, a water world, and into the fifth dimension for his kids. You think for a second I wouldn't do that for mine? You've heard of Mama Bear, but you better pray you never cross Daddy Bear. The last thing is that all men want is intimacy. I'm not even in my 30s yet and I'm single. I haven't been with another woman in almost a year. Not because I can't, but because I got way more going on. Raising children, work, planting vegetables, building tables, etc. Do I want it? Yeah. But is it the sole desire of my life that clouds any and all focus to the point I can't function without it? Not in the slightest. I got mouths to feed, bills to pay, shoes to buy. I don't have time to chase tail. I built my financial empire to pass on to my children and my sweet babies or grown adults. Maybe I'll take a breather and look for a mate, but until then, I have priorities and responsibilities. I'm not 22 anymore. Well, if you like these stories, here's more. YouTube thinks you're going to love this. Catch you in that video.